one of your focuses has been women in entrepreneurship. I guess very simply, why do you need that here at the YBI?
Well, as I mentioned previously, entrepreneurship is a key component to economic well-being. If you don't have your own businesses that are growing and hiring people and keeping the dollars local, your economy is going to be stagnant. And we need to have every player on the field. If there are entrepreneurs out there that are even just thinking about it, potential entrepreneurs who are just considering the idea, well, we need to move them down the field. Women tend to, unfortunately, be more risk adverse. They need more encouragement to take those steps. That's not a stereotype, that's a statistic that can be backed up. So we felt like the Women in Entrepreneurship provided some additional supports that our traditional programming just didn't offer. Providing more social support than just the technical information that people need in order to grow the business.
So networking and supporting each other and being able to talk about the struggles or challenges that you have.
Yeah, just providing that social support to women who really are often struggling alone during very dark hours of how am I going to make payroll this month, or what do I do when this or that happens. The cohorts that we created really provided something that was larger than the sum of the parts. It gave women a group that they could fall back on when they had questions or concerns that nobody else could answer, because you often are going it alone when you're starting a small business.
Can you kind of list off a few of those women-owned businesses that have now flourished, come through here?
The easy one to point to is Carmela Marie, who was our second WE director and our very first MBAC director. She is still doing consulting work for us, but she's now doing that on a part-time basis. She was in the first cohort of our women's program, and she has a hair care product company that she has been growing for I think about the last decade, but she has now taken those steps, and she is now more of a full-time entrepreneur and less of a full-time employee, because as she has grown her business, she's been able to step back from working for us and getting her product out into the market and making sales. She is a tremendous success story for us, and one that we just couldn't be any prouder of. Another story that I have to point to is Augment Therapy. Lindsay won Shark Tank last year, and out of that has come nearly $1 million worth of investment, both from that program and then some follow-on funding that she got. Her company is the gamification of physical therapy for children who clearly don't want to sit through physical therapy sessions, but through her software, it's gamified and it becomes fun and something that they want to do. She is now in demonstration at University Hospital and really doing so well. We could not be any prouder of her. It's a great success story for her and for YBI. Another great story we're very proud of, it's a company called EPI. We've been working with them for a while, a woman-owned business, opening a demonstration center upstairs in our building. The RFIDs are the tags that are scanned as you go shopping. It's used for a lot of different applications. Theirs are very durable, can be put through incredibly stressful situations, high temperature, high pressure, those types of things. Industrial applications, possibly biomedical applications. They are going to be another great success story for us.
So potential clients or those interested in that product might come here to take a look at the display upstairs.
Exactly. So they will be able to bring in potential customers, industrial corporations, medical applications, the really great partners for them, and opportunities for us to show some of the rest of our portfolio companies off to.
So Bright, which is the energy incubator, the only one in the state,
yes,
obviously. I know you are collaborating with them in some ways. How do you see that continuing to grow, or do you? You do similar things, but with different industries.
We have been working with Bright since the very beginning of time. I have historically been engaged with their board of directors. They have been engaged with ours. We've got a lot of different programs where we are in partnership. We're both part of the Entrepreneurial Signature Program, so we work very closely with them on things like that. But most recently, we announced that we were part of the Apex project, a project where we are actively going out with Bright to engage with universities and businesses throughout the Appalachian region to get them thinking about research opportunities with the Air Force Research Lab in Dayton. It has already been a very successful program for us. One of the metrics that we are always reaching for is to get local businesses and the universities to submit SBIR and STTR research grants through federal agencies. In the first quarter of this year, we have already exceeded everything that we had done the previous year, just because this program is allowing us the resources to go out and actively push these programs. Through research grants, you get new technologies identified, new capabilities, and ultimately more companies into the pipeline.
And to be clear, YBI is a nonprofit, and talking about getting grants, I mean, getting grants and fundraising, like any nonprofit, is your bread and butter?
Absolutely. And a lot of times I think people think because we get so many federal dollars or state dollars that we don't do fundraising. I've actually had people be surprised that we're a nonprofit and that we have fundraisers and
like Shark Tank.
Like Shark Tank, and that we go out and write grants and are seeking philanthropy. Just about every program that we are engaged with, whether it's at the state or the federal level, require a match, and it's almost always one-to-one. So if we don't have those local dollars to show, to back up the state or federal funding, we can't unlock it. It simply sits there. So having a grant of $100,000, if you don't have the $100,000 to match it, you might as well not have the original grant. So philanthropy is a really important part of our overall budget and a lot of our focus as we look at how we will build out new programs. We have to understand where those dollars are going to come from.
And one of those new programs just recently is the Minority Business Assistance Program. And tell me why that's so important for this area.
About 2 years ago, we were contacted by the state to consider making an application to become the Minority Business Assistance Center for the Eastern Corridor for the state. We were really honored to be asked to do so, and very excited about the opportunity. If you look at the Mahoning Valley's social and economic data, what you'll see is that we are we're not a well-integrated community. All the census data shows pretty consistently that we are pretty well segregated. And as a result of that, you see larger disparities in wealth and income levels, poverty levels that are really segregated by race. And if we as a community don't start breaking those barriers down, we're just going to continue to have this divide, and I think you'll continue to see our urban cores deteriorate, and that contributes not only to the malaise of those populations themselves, but it's really hard to have a healthy community, a region that has donut holes of poverty and racial divide. It's just not. It's not healthy. It's not a place that you want to live in, and it's not. It's not good as a community for all populations, not just the populations that live there. There's not as much opportunity for anybody, but it's certainly not fair to the African American populations, the Hispanic populations that are left in those urban cores.
So in order for them to grow their wealth, they need to have ownership of some of the businesses.
And access to those opportunities.
Right.
So we felt that becoming part of the Minority Business Assistance Center provided us with an avenue to really start to reach into the urban cores, especially Youngstown and Warren, and start to build new companies that would build wealth and opportunities for a population that we really hadn't been able to reach. It also then allows us to work with those companies who maybe start off as a very traditional business, but as they work in those industries, they can start to think about new ways to develop products, processes that maybe are more tech-enabled. So they then become that next great story of a technology that can go out and become the next turning technologies because they've started small, started with what they knew, but as we've worked with them, we've got them thinking about new ways of doing things and building technology into their programs. We just had a meeting yesterday with a gentleman out of the Dayton, Cincinnati area that took a very traditional business, working with social media and marketing, and created an automated system using software that is now a technology business that's selling across the state of Ohio. He is a great example of what can happen when, again, you get all of your players onto the field, when you get everybody thinking about entrepreneurship rather than just a select few.
Thought Leaders is sponsored by Eastern Gateway Community College. With more than 35 programs, Eastern Gateway can help you with your career preparation and transfer plans.